Okay, so flex living in Spain, huh? You're in the right spot because we are going deep on this new report.
It's fascinating stuff.
It really is. The report comes from Atlas Real Estate Analytics.
They're really the leaders when it comes to Spanish real estate trends.
Exactly.
The insights are really impressive.
And they paint a fascinating picture of this market.
A market which is changing rapidly, I have to say.
It really is, and the numbers are pretty eye-opening. Yeah. But before we get into those, what exactly are we talking about when we say flex living?
Well, it's more than just a buzzword, that's for sure.
Right, because we hear it everywhere now.
It really is everywhere you turn. And I think what's important to remember is that it's not just one thing.
Okay, so break it down for us. What exactly falls under this umbrella of flex living?
So we're talking co-living spaces for one.
Okay, makes sense.
Service apartments are a big part of it too.
Right.
And then there's corporate housing as well.
So it's this whole spectrum of living arrangements.
Exactly. And what ties them all together is this idea of flexibility built in.
Flexible in terms of what, though?
Well, lease terms, for one.
Mm-hmm.
Think shorter-term options, which is a big draw for a lot of people these days.
Right. Traditional leases can be so inflexible.
Exactly. And it's not just about the lease length either. We're talking fully furnished apartments, so you can move right in.
Oh, that's appealing. No more furniture shopping.
Exactly. It takes all the hassle out of it. And on top of that, you usually have a whole package of amenities and services already included.
So it's really about simplifying your life then.
I think that's a big part of the appeal. It's not just about having a roof over your head. It's about a whole lifestyle.
A lifestyle that's increasingly appealing, it seems.
And what's interesting is that it's not driven by just one factor.
Oh, so it's not just digital nomads or remote workers like we always hear?
It's definitely not limited to them.
Yeah.
While they're a big part of it, we're seeing more and more students choosing co-living.
Really?
Interesting.
Oh, yeah, those old school dorms are losing their appeal.
I can see why.
And young professionals are really drawn to that hassle-free, all-inclusive lifestyle that flex living offers.
Makes sense. They're busy building their careers. Who needs the stress of dealing with landlords and utilities?
Exactly. And even families are starting to consider flex living as an option in certain situations.
Okay, so much more diverse than we might initially think.
Exactly. It's a really interesting mix of demographics, and that's actually contributing to the growth of the sector. So it's not just a fad. It's really starting to reshape the way we think about housing.
Absolutely. And Spain is at the forefront of this transformation.
That's what's got me so excited about this report. It shines a light on just how hot the Spanish market is right now.
It's red hot, no doubt about it. The numbers speak for themselves.
Okay, so let's talk numbers. The report states there are nearly 27,000 flex living beds currently available.
That's right. And here's the kicker.
Gimme.
That number is predicted to double by 2027.
Double. In just 3 years. That's a remarkable leap.
It really is, and it shows you the scale of the growth we're talking about.
Okay, but is this growth evenly distributed, or are there any cities that are really ahead of the curve?
Madrid is the undisputed champion at the moment.
Madrid. Not surprising, really, is it?
Not really. It's a global city with so much to offer.
And it seems to be a magnet for flex living developments.
Over 70% of the planned projects are concentrated there.
Wow, 70%. That's a clear indication of where the action is.
Definitely. Madrid has that perfect storm of factors driving this growth.
So what makes Madrid so attractive from a flex living perspective?
Well, for starters, it's got a growing population.
Right, more people means more demand for housing.
Exactly, and not just any housing. People are looking for options that fit their modern lifestyles.
Which is where flex living comes in.
Precisely. Plus, Madrid has a vibrant corporate scene.
With lots of companies looking for flexible housing solutions for their employees.
Exactly. And on top of that, you've got urban planning regulations that are actually favorable towards this type of development.
So it's like the stars are aligning for flex living in Madrid.
You could say that, and this creates a win-win situation.
For investors and those seeking this lifestyle.
Absolutely. Investors see the potential for strong returns, and renters get the flexible and convenient living spaces they crave.
It's a match made in real estate heaven. What about other Spanish cities, though? Are there any other hot spots on your radar?
Valencia and Malaga are definitely worth watching.
Interesting. What makes them stand out?
Well, they're both experiencing significant population growth, which always fuels demand for housing.
Right.
And they both have a strong corporate presence as well, attracting companies and young professionals.
So similar to Madrid in those respects.
Yeah, but they've also got another ace up their sleeve.
Which is?
Their coastal locations.
The allure of the Mediterranean Sea.
Exactly. It's a huge draw for expats and digital nomads who are looking for that perfect work-life balance.
Sunsea and flexible living. Sounds pretty idyllic.
It's a powerful combination, and it's attracting a lot of attention from investors and renters alike.
Speaking of renters, let's dive into the demand side of things. This report highlighted something really interesting.
What's that?
The demand for flex living in Spain is actually outstripping supply.
That's a key finding, and it's something that investors are keeping a close eye on.
It makes you wonder, who are these flex living renters? What are their needs and preferences?
Well, as we mentioned earlier, it's a diverse group.
Right, but the report goes into a bit more detail.
It digs deeper into the demographics, and it seems students are ditching those dingy dorms.
Good for them.
And they're opting for these stylish co-living spaces instead.
I can see the appeal.
Yeah.
It's like dorm life, but elevated.
Exactly. And young professionals are all about that hassle-free lifestyle. So serviced apartments are right up their alley.
Makes sense. No time for dealing with household chores when you're on the fast track to career success.
Precisely. And then you've got expats who are new to the city or maybe even the country.
Right. For them, it's like a soft landing pad.
Exactly. They can settle in without all the usual headaches of finding an apartment, setting up utilities, and all that jazz.
So flex living really does cater to a whole range of needs and situations.
It's reframing the idea of what it means to live somewhere.
Making it more fluid, more adaptable.
Exactly. You're not tied down by long-term commitments. You can move more freely and experience different places.
And I imagine this flexibility is a major driver of the demand we're seeing.
Absolutely. But it's not the only factor. The report also points to the importance of amenities.
Right, because it's not just about the space itself, it's about the whole package.
Exactly. Renters are looking for those value-added extras that enhance their lifestyle.
Like what? Give us the juicy details.
Think high-speed Wi-Fi for starters.
Essential in today's world.
Absolutely. And then you've got things like in-building co-working spaces, which are becoming increasingly popular.
Especially for remote workers and freelancers.
Right. It gives them a dedicated space to work and network without having to leave the building.
And then there's the social aspect as well.
Yeah.
We all crave connection, right?
Absolutely. And that's where those communal lounges and rooftop terraces come in.
Ah, rooftop terraces with those stunning city views.
Exactly. It's all about creating a sense of community and belonging.
That's so interesting because it's like flex living is addressing this need for connection that many people feel, especially in big cities.
Absolutely. It's like a built-in social life, which can be really appealing to those who are new to a city or just looking to expand their social circle.
It's like the antidote to that feeling of urban isolation that we hear so much about.
Exactly. And it's something that traditional housing models often lack.
So flex living is not just disrupting the real estate market, it's also changing the way we live and connect with each other.
I think that's a really insightful observation, and it's what makes this sector so fascinating to watch.
It's like a social experiment unfolding right before our eyes. And the results so far seem pretty positive.
They really do.
Mm.
But as with any new trend, there are always challenges and questions that arise.
Which is what we're going to dig into in the next part of our deep dive.
Stay tuned, folks. Things are about to get even more interesting. So we left off talking about this diverse group of people driving the flex living boom.
Yeah, it's fascinating, right? You've got students, young professionals, expats, all flocking to these flexible living spaces.
It's like they're all looking for the same thing, a hassle-free lifestyle tailored to their needs.
Right. And speaking of tailored lifestyles, we need to break down the two main players in the flex living game, co-living and serviced apartments.
Okay, so imagine this. You're a recent grad, fresh out of college.
Those were the days.
Right. And you're moving to a new city for your dream job.
Exciting times. But also a little daunting, right? Finding a place to live, meeting new people.
Exactly. And that's where co-living comes in.
Okay, so it's like dorm life 2.0.
Kind of, but with way better amenities and a more grown-up vibe.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So what are we talking about here?
Think stylishly designed apartments with smaller private rooms, but amazing shared spaces.
So you're trading personal space for a sense of community.
Exactly. You've got these incredible communal kitchens where you can cook and socialize with your fellow residents.
So no more sad microwave dinners eaten alone in your tiny apartment.
Not in a co-living space. Plus, there are usually co-working areas, gyms, maybe even a rooftop terrace with killer views.
It's like they've thought of everything someone new to a city might need.
Right. And because you're living with like-minded people, it's easy to make friends and build a network.
It's like built-in friendships.
Exactly. Now, on the other hand, you have serviced apartments.
Okay, so tell me about those. Who are they a good fit for?
Serviced apartments are perfect for those who want a bit more privacy and independence.
So more like a traditional apartment, but with added perks.
You got it. They often come with a full kitchen and living area, so you have more space to yourself.
So no need to fight over the fridge space.
Exactly. Plus, you get those hotel-like amenities,
Yeah.
regular housekeeping, maybe a gym, even concierge services.
It's like living in a hotel, but with the comforts of home.
Precisely. It's a great option for business travelers or anyone who wants a hassle-free living experience.
Okay, so co-living is for the social butterflies, and serviced apartments are for those who value their independence.
That's a good way to put it, but it's not always so black and white.
How so?
Well, there's this new trend called smart living.
Smart living. Are we talking robots doing our dishes?
Not quite. Smart living is all about blending the best of both worlds. Stylish, fully equipped apartments with flexible lease terms and a focus on community building.
So it's like having your own space, but still being part of something bigger.
Exactly. Imagine having access to shared workspaces, communal gardens, and regular social events, all while enjoying the privacy of your own apartment.
It sounds like the perfect balance.
And it's quickly gaining popularity in Spain.
Makes sense. This report actually highlights some interesting operators in each of these categories. What stood out to you?
Well, for co-living, the residential club really impressed me with its focus on community living and providing a support system for young professionals.
So it's not just about providing a roof over their heads, but also helping them thrive in a new city.
Right. They offer everything from networking events to discounts at local businesses, all designed to make their residents feel at home.
That's a really holistic approach.
It is, and then you have Canso Co-Living, known for their design-centric spaces with top-notch amenities like in-house cinemas and rooftop terraces.
Rooftop cinemas. Now, that's what I call living the high life.
Right. And for those seeking a more luxurious experience, there's Catarina House.
Okay, tell me more about Catarina House. What makes them stand out?
They specialize in high-end serviced apartments in prime locations like Barcelona, Madrid, and Malaga.
So we're talking prime real estate here.
Absolutely. And they cater to a discerning clientele who expect nothing but the best. Think weekly cleanings, 24/7 resident support, even personalized concierge services.
It's like having your own personal assistant on call.
Basically. But beyond the physical spaces themselves, amenities are a huge factor in flex living.
Right, because it's not just about having a place to sleep, it's about the whole lifestyle.
Exactly. These days, fast Wi-Fi is a given, but renters are looking for that extra something.
Like what? Give us the inside scoop.
Well, in-building co-working spaces are becoming increasingly common, as are state-of-the-art gyms.
Makes sense. People want to be able to work and work out without even leaving the building.
Exactly. And communal lounges are always a hit, especially those with comfy sofas and maybe a fireplace for those cozy winter evenings.
Ah, I can picture it now.
And then there are those more unique amenities that really set some spaces apart, like rooftop terraces with stunning city views.
Did someone say rooftop barbecues?
Don't forget the pet spas.
Pet spas. Wow, we've reached peak pampering.
It's all about creating that desirable lifestyle. And pet owners are a big part of the flex living market.
So it's not just humans who are living the good life.
Exactly. And here's another interesting trend: sustainability.
Oh, that's great to hear. So flex living isn't just about trendy apartments and cool amenities. It's also about responsible living.
Absolutely. Renters are becoming increasingly eco-conscious. So operators are responding by incorporating sustainable building materials, energy-efficient appliances, and green spaces into their developments.
It's encouraging to see that even with all the focus on innovation and growth, sustainability is still a top priority.
It's becoming non-negotiable, really.
And what about those more unique partnerships? Any interesting collaborations you came across?
One thing that stood out to me was the growing trend of partnering with local businesses.
Okay, so tell me more about that. What kind of partnerships are we talking about?
Well, some operators offer discounts or exclusive experiences for their residents at nearby restaurants, cafes, and cultural venues.
So it's like having a built-in network of local favorites.
Exactly. It's a win-win situation. Residents get to experience the best of the city, and local businesses get a boost in clientele.
It's a great way to foster a sense of community both within the flex living space and in the surrounding neighborhood.
Absolutely. And it's these kinds of thoughtful touches that are really elevating the flex living experience.
It's clear that this sector is all about innovation and pushing the boundaries of what it means to live in a city.
It's an exciting time to be watching this market evolve and adapt to the changing needs of urban dwellers.
Speaking of evolving, what does the future hold for flex living in Spain? Where do we go from here? So flex living in Spain, it's evolving at warp speed, but where does it go from here? What does the future hold?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is. The report hints at some interesting possibilities, though.
It does. It suggests that we might see a move towards even more specialized offerings.
More specialized. Can you give me some examples? What are we talking about here?
Well, think co-living spaces designed specifically for digital nomads, for example, with features and amenities that cater to their unique needs.
So like maybe super fast Wi-Fi and dedicated workspaces.
Exactly. And maybe even a built-in community of like-minded individuals from all over the world.
So you could work from anywhere in the world but still feel like you're part of a community.
Exactly. It's about creating a sense of belonging even when you're constantly on the move.
That's fascinating. And what about other specialized offerings? Any other examples come to mind?
Well, the report also mentions corporate housing tailored for extended business trips.
So instead of putting their employees up in hotels, companies could lease these fully equipped apartments.
Exactly. It's a more cost-effective solution in many cases, and it provides a more comfortable and home-like environment for employees.
Makes sense. And I imagine it could be a nice perk for employees too, who wants to be stuck in a hotel room for weeks on end.
Exactly. And then there's the possibility of seeing flex living options catering to people going through life transitions.
Like what kind of life transitions? Give me an example.
We'll think divorce or maybe someone relocating for family reasons.
So situations where you might need a temporary but comfortable place to live.
Exactly. It's about providing housing solutions for every stage of life.
That's a really interesting concept. I like that. So we're moving away from this one-size-fits-all approach to something much more nuanced and personalized.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that everyone's needs are different and providing housing options that reflect that diversity.
It's like flex living is becoming more human, more in tune with the realities of modern life.
I think that's a great way to put it. And it's this human-centric approach that I think will shape the future of flex living.
So instead of just being an alternative to traditional housing models, it becomes more integrated into the fabric of our cities.
Exactly. And I think that's where things get really interesting. Because right now we tend to think of flex living as its own separate category.
Right. Co-living spaces over here, service apartments over there.
Exactly. But what if those principles of flexibility, community, and convenience were integrated into all types of housing developments?
So instead of having these separate silos, we start to see more blended models.
Precisely imagine a mixed-use building with traditional apartments alongside co-living spaces for different demographics, all connected by shared amenities and a strong sense of community.
That's a really interesting vision. So it's not just about creating more housing, it's about creating more diverse and inclusive housing options.
Exactly. And that's how flex living could really revolutionize the way we live in cities.
It's about creating cities that work for everyone, not just a select few.
Absolutely. And I think that's a future worth striving for.
Well said. Well, folks, there you have it. The world of flex living in Spain, a world of flexibility, innovation, and community.
A world that's changing the way we live, work, and connect with each other.
And as we've heard today, it's a world that's just getting started.
The possibilities are endless.
They really are. So until next time, happy living, everyone.